got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports, Saturday, June 27th. Do not listen to anything that I have to say on the show or ever, whatever. Yesterday was one of the worst days we've had on the show in a long time, 0-3. I mean, it happens, but what do you want me to say? Detroit had 8 runs themselves in the first 4 innings, and then that game couldn't go over 8.5. Really? You have 5 innings left, or I guess 4.5, because Detroit was winning. For either team to score 1 run, 2 pretty questionable bullpens, and you're not going to get 1 more run. Okay, great. And then we had the under in the first 5 in the A's-Angels game. That was a 1-0 game into the 5th inning. And then Walbert Uranus completely implodes. 7 runs from the A's in that top half of the inning. They probably should have just left Urania in, because they probably would have allowed fewer runs if they did that. Like, again, what do you want me to say? And then Atlanta was the better team. They won the first 3 quarters of that game last night. And Golden State, what they're known for is being really good in the first half at home. They were 10-1 at home in the first half, like against the first half line. And Atlanta won the first half. That was literally only the second time that Golden State at home lost on the first half number, and Atlanta couldn't finish the game, and they only score in the 70s, and they lose the game by 3 points. Fuck you. I'm not responding to comments here. I'll talk about these games. Don't listen to anything I have to say. I have 2 plays. They're both in baseball. Whatever. Yankees Red Sox, the only good thing that happened yesterday, the Red Sox won. I mean, I'm a fan of Peyton Tolley. I'm liking Wilson Contreras. Is that his name? Because he is definitely he's getting really into this rivalry here and pissing the Yankees off. I don't know if the Red Sox are going to win this game. Bullpen usage was pretty similar yesterday. Both teams used 2 relief pitchers. The Red Sox bullpen is slightly better at number 4. Yankees number 7. Both have a really similar ERA here. Yankees way better offense. Number 2. Red Sox number 24. Garrett Cole is pitching for the Yankees. This game is on ABC, by the way, so it's got a TV billing because it is the big rivalry. Yankees might be a little bit more motivated here because they've lost the first 2 games of the series, although the Red Sox in recent years have played pretty well against the Yankees, even when they're the lesser team. Cole is pretty good, 3.62 ERA, 1.18 whip. Not as good on the road, 4.2 road ERA. And he wasn't good in his last start. In 2 of his last 3 starts, he's failed to make it past 4 1/3 innings. So maybe that's not a great sign. Those are against Cleveland and Detroit, who are not exactly elite offenses. So there's something maybe a little bit off about Cole. I mean, I know he's coming back from injury. He's getting up there in age, so he's not really exactly what he was when he was totally elite, although he's still not bad. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. Strikeout rate is decent. Against the Red Sox, has good numbers of 45 at-bats, 222 average, 589 OPS, 18-2 strikeout walk ratio. I think that he is probably going to pitch well here. Red Sox going with Jake Bennett, who has pitched pretty well so far in his rookie season. 3.71 ERA, 1.13 whip. Not as good at home, though. 4.02 home ERA. He was really good last time out with a 6-inning, 9-strikeout, 4-hit, no-walk performance, shutout performance in Colorado. So he was able to handle Coors Field really well. And he hasn't walked anybody over his last 2 starts and has an 18-1 strikeout walk ratio this month. Yeah, he's pitching well. His command has gotten better. The Red Sox haven't been able to win any of those games. But really, yeah, I mean, he looks all right here. He's got an okay strikeout rate. His hit rate is fine, and his walk rate is very low. So his command has been solid. And the Yankees have not seen him before, so he does have that unfamiliarity advantage where the hitters are going to have to figure him out on the fly. I think this game probably looks like an under. That's probably what I would do here, rather than try to figure out the side. The money is backing the Red Sox. 71% of the tickets are on the Yankees. I mean, it makes sense. The Yankees, they're not heavily priced here. They're at minus 125. It looks probably too easy to take the Yankees at that price with Cole on the mound because he's the name that everybody knows there. Red Sox, 53% on the money, though. Money is also hitting the over. I don't really agree with that. 56% of tickets on the under, 54% of the cash on the over, total 8.5. I think you have 2 starters who look like they could pitch well here. Red Sox offense also is still not good at home, even though they've been a little bit better. I think they've scored 6 runs in each game in this series, so they have gotten a little bit better. Probably not going to, I don't think they're going to do that again here, though. Yeah, I think the under makes the most sense in that game. Bullpens are also solid. Houston at Detroit, don't even want to talk about what happened in that game yesterday. Houston couldn't even put up 1 run against Detroit's pitching. Thank you, Houston. Thanks for that. Detroit only used 1 relief pitcher. Houston used 2. These bullpens have gotten better recently, though. Houston is actually up to 19th, so they are definitely not an atrocious bullpen at this point. Detroit 16th, but their ERA is below 4. That's not bad. Still don't trust these bullpens, but they're not totally avoidable here. Or bullpens that you have to avoid, I should say. And in fact, the bullpens were excellent in the game yesterday, which pisses me off. Houston, 14th in offense here, and Detroit 21st. Detroit's still not hitting well. Kaiwei Tang pitching this game for Houston. I don't know, man. I mean, he's really hard to predict. 4.03 ERA, 1.29 whip. That's not that great. 3.96 road ERA, so he's a little bit better on the road. He was good in his last start, but it was against Cleveland, who we know is not a good offense, and they're injured right now. His previous 3 starts were all pretty bad. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say he's exactly in good form because he made 1 good start against a weak offense. He was coming out of the bullpen earlier in the year. He's got a low hit rate, though. Walk rate is definitely too high. Strikeout rate is fairly high. So the wildness is his main concern here. Detroit has 15 at-bats. Not a huge sample, but most of their hitters have faced him, and they've done well. 400 average, 1471 OPS. 8-2 strikeout walk ratio, the only good numbers for him there. Detroit also has 3 home runs against him in that small sample size. Framber Valdez is pitching for Detroit, 3.91 ERA, 1.33 whip. That whip is clearly too high. Valdez, I mean, he's okay, but he just walks too many guys. He's not that good at home, though, 4.38 home ERA. But he's been better recently. This month, he's been pretty solid, although his walk number's still been too high. But he's allowed 1 or 0 earned run in 3 of the 4 starts, including a good start last time out against the Yankees, where he had 8 strikeouts and allowed 1 run and got a win against them. So that's a decent sign that he is pitching better again right now. His hit rate is fairly low. His walk rate is too high, like I said. Strikeout rate is not as high as you would really want to see, but he does also induce a lot of ground balls, which are less lethal than fly balls, as long as you got good infielder fielding. His numbers against Houston are good, and remember, he used to be on Houston. I talked about that the last time. He just faced Houston 2 starts ago. I gave out a first 5 under in that game, and that was a winner. He gave up no earned runs in 6 innings in that one. And I told you that I thought Valdez was going to pitch well against his former team the first time facing them because he was going to get up for that. Usually pitchers, they're going to get a little bit more excited and get up for it against the team that just got rid of them because they want to pitch well. Will that carry over to this game? I'm not so sure. Maybe he'll still do it. But Houston might have made some adjustments to him, so I don't really trust him as much in this game, although he does have good numbers against Houston. 41 at bats, 220 average, allowed 626 OPS, 9.7 strikeout walk ratio. I'm still going to lean Detroit here. I still think Valdez is the more stable pitcher. Well, he's not mentally stable, so that is a question, but I think he's the more predictable pitcher here in a way. Both are kind of unpredictable, though. 65% of tickets on Detroit, though. 59% of the cash on Houston. Money is backing Houston. I think I would lean Detroit here. They're around minus 130 something. You can make it a first 5 if you worry about the bullpens, although Detroit may have a slight bullpen edge there, so full game still kind of makes sense there. Detroit over their team total makes some sense, too, if you kind of lean Detroit here and want to avoid Valdez. The money is backing the over in the game. The total's at 8.5, so Detroit over team total does make some sense in that game as well. You might need him to get, I don't know. You might need him to only score. You probably need him to get 5 runs, though, in that game if you want to do it that way. Texas at Toronto. Texas has won both games in the series so far by 1 run, so Toronto not doing well here at home. Toronto is, I don't think they're really as good as Texas, really. Texas just has very good pitching. Toronto used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Texas also did. Texas has used their best relievers in both games in the series, though, to save both games. So their better relievers are probably unavailable in this game, so that's not great for them. Texas, number 9 in bullpen. Their ERA is a little bit higher than I would think that it would be, but I think they're the better bullpen. Toronto 13th. They have the same ERA, but Toronto has the worst whip, and I think Texas is definitely the better bullpen. Texas is ranked 19th in offense, tied with Kansas City. Although I don't think Kansas City is that good. Blue Jays 23rd. So Texas has somehow been slightly better on offense. I'm not so sure I really buy that, but they are a little bit better on the road. This pitching matchup really does not favor Texas at all, though. Texas is going with a bullpen game here. They got Cal Quantrill listed as the starter. I don't think this is going to be good. I don't think we really need to dig into his numbers too much. He's probably only going to go 1 or 2 innings here, and he's allowed runs in 4 straight appearances. This isn't really good. Texas has lost his last 6 appearances. Not a good sign. His numbers against Toronto are also bad, but he's only going to be in the game for a little while. But it does not look good. He will be opposed by Dylan Cease, who is obviously the way better of the 2 starters here. He's the only starter that's pitching in this game here. Cease is having a good season, 2.75 ERA, 1.19 whip. Really good at home, 2.33 home ERA. He's continuing to pitch well, although his walk numbers are getting pretty bad again. He's walked 8 guys over his last 10 2/3 innings. You can't do that and keep getting away with it, man. I know he's Cease. I know he strikes out everybody and doesn't allow that many hits, but his wildness seems to be coming back, and that is one concern with him. That's his main problem throughout his career. His walk number is way too high, but his hit rate is pretty low, or really low, really. His strikeout rate is also really high, so that's kind of how he gets away with it, but the walks really kind of did him in last year, and I don't know, man. I mean, his control looks like it's off right now. Even though his strikeout rate has been high this entire time, I don't like the walks here. And I do not like his numbers against Texas particularly. In 77 at-bats, Texas, their offense isn't that good, but they do have a 273 average, 780 OPS off him, 25-6 strikeout walk ratio. So Texas has had a little bit of an advantage against Cease. You know, I mean, I think maybe you could go over in this game. I mean, I think both games have gone over in the series so far. Money is backing the under. 78% of tickets on the over, 56% of the cash on the under. I would not do that. I mean, I think we might get an over here. The pitching scenario doesn't really look that great for either side. You're also paying a lot of money if you want C, so you have to lay minus 190 something here. 81% of tickets, 76% of the cash on Toronto, so the money is fading Toronto here. I would not back a Texas bullpen game, though. Even though their bullpen is good, I'm not going to do that. Toronto probably, I would say, gets this win, but I don't think I would want to bank on it really either, even though Texas, they're going to be out of their best relievers here in this game, too. I guess you could look to lay a run line with Toronto, but the money is fading it, basically saying the price is not good on Toronto. So, yeah, I think the money is basically just saying you're paying too much for Dylan Cease here. I'm skipping the game. Next game is going to be a play. We get a more reasonable price on this. And this game is like I have to decide which one of these guys is my favorite child. But we're going to back Cincinnati in the first 5, minus 125 on the money line here. You can find a decent money line on this. Obviously, I'm going to exclude Cincinnati's bullpen because they suck. So I don't want any part of that. Cincinnati used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. This is at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh used 4 as well. I believe Pittsburgh finally got a win yesterday, I'm pretty sure, didn't they? Did they? Wait, maybe they didn't. No, they didn't. Holy shit. Pittsburgh, they've lost 8 games in a row with Paul Skeens starting. I don't know what is going on with that, man. I mean, it is just getting ridiculous that they can't win a game with Skeens. Even if he pitches well, it looks like he was a little bit off yesterday, or maybe it was Cincinnati's bullpen. I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the box score stats there. I don't care because I'm going to go with Chase Burns in this game here. I'm going to avoid the bullpens. Both bullpens are bad. Cincinnati's is worse. Cincinnati 28th. They're not good. Pittsburgh is 20th, but they are better than Cincinnati. So we're going to throw Cincinnati's bullpen in the trash, not deal with them. I don't like Cincinnati's offense recently at all. They're 25th right now. I know that's not good, but I think they're going to be able to get some runs here, at least enough to get us this win on this play here, because they should be able to. They're probably not going to have to put up too much offense with Chase Burns on the other side here, although I know Pittsburgh is really good at home. They're number 3 in offense. They're really good at home. Burns should be able to counter that. Burns has been awesome. 2 ERA, 1.05 whip. He's been basically the same home and away. It doesn't matter. He did pitch against Pittsburgh and shut them out for 7 innings in this stadium in early May. So he obviously has the ability to completely shut them down in this stadium. And I don't think we need him to be quite that good here to get this to be a win, but he was excellent in that start. 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He also shut out Pittsburgh at home for 5 innings, 1 hit allowed in that one, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. So he has gone 12 scoreless innings against Pittsburgh this year, allowing only 4 hits, 14 strikeouts, and 4 walks. So he has dominated them this year, and his numbers reflect that. He's got 37 at-bats against Pittsburgh, 17 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 hits allowed, 2. 1 is an extra base hit, a double from Reynolds, but 0.54 average, 227 OPS. He has dominant stats against Pittsburgh. So I'm going to back that, and I'm going to fade Jared Jones, even though I do like Jones. Jones has not been able to come back from injury very well so far. He's young. He was pretty good 2 years ago, so I think at some point he will be back in some sort of form, but he is not right now. 5.75 ERA, 1.52 whip, really ugly, really bad at home, 7.56 home ERA. So we're going to fade his home road splits here. He hasn't even gone 5 innings in his last 3 starts. In fact, he's made 4 starts this year, and he's only gone 5 innings once in those 5. So that's not a good sign either. He's gotten a lot of run support behind him, but I don't think that's going to be the case against Chase Burns. Jones has had to pitch at the A's stadium, though, against the Dodgers, at Colorado. So you do have to give him a little bit of a break for that because those are not easy tasks. So I do think he is a little bit better than what these numbers would suggest, but he's got a high hit rate. His walk rate is not great. Strikeout rate is fairly good. But still, I mean, he's just not. It looks like they have him on a pitch count right now, so he might not even go the full first 5 here. So I think Burns should outlast him here. And his numbers against the Reds, although it's only 4 hitters who have faced him, Ellie De La Cruz is back for the Reds, which should help their offense here because he's done some damage against Jones. 2 for 3 with a double and a home run. The team has 10 at-bats against him. They do have a 400 average and 1,200 OPS against him. 3 strikeouts, no walks. But I think they should be able to score some against Jones here while he's out there. We get a decent price on this. We'll back Burns here. The money seems to agree with this. 66% of tickets, 90% of the cash on Cincinnati. They're a cheaper price on the full game because that would include Cincinnati's bullpen, and I do not want to do that at about minus 118. I'll pay the extra juice to just focus on where we have the edge. Burns being on the mound. First 5, Cincinnati, money line. I have no voice. I apologize. Man, I don't know why. Dude, I was able to do a ukulele cover last night, but I'm not going to be able to do anything. I don't even know if I'm going to get through the show. Philadelphia at the Mets. This is a very, very weird starting pitching matchup in this one. The Mets lost again yesterday, even though I thought they'd have a spark after they fired their manager. They almost won. It was a 2-1 loss, so they were able to get some good pitching yesterday. But Zach Wheeler, I think, pitched for Philadelphia, and he's not a guy you want to mess with, man. Wheeler can pretty much shut down anybody on any given day. Philadelphia only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. The Mets used 2 as well. Mets have a pretty good bullpen. They're number 3. They have a really good bullpen, actually. Philadelphia is number 10. Not too bad, but the Mets are the better bullpen here. Philly is the better offense, although neither offense has been good. Philly 22nd, Mets 29th. Philly is going with Alan Rangel. Is that how you pronounce this guy's name? Rangel? I think it's Rangel. He's from Mexico. So, yeah, Alan Rangel. That's what I'm going to call this guy. I don't know. I have no idea what you're going to get out of this guy. He's 28, so it's not like he's a really young guy. He's only made 1 start so far, I think. He made 1 relief appearance and 1 start, I believe. No, he's made no starts, actually. My mistake. He's made 7 relief appearances with Philly since last year. His whip is a little bit high here over that entire span, although his ERA has been pretty good so far. 2.25 this year, 1 whip. That's good. He did make 2 road starts that were not that easy against the Cubs and Washington. He's got 8 innings so far, 8 hits allowed, 9 Ks, and no walks. So that is pretty good. His command's been good. He did that against 2 offenses that could definitely do damage. So Rangel actually looks like he's not that bad. I have no idea what you're going to get out of him here against the Mets, but the Mets are going to be easily the weakest offense that he's faced so far. So he might actually pitch well here. The Mets on the other side will have Christian Scott coming back from the injured list. Scott is a pretty decent young pitcher. He's got a 3.1 ERA, although his whip is too high, 1.35. He's not been good at home, 4.6 home ERA. So there are some issues with him here. He didn't do well last time out against St. Louis, which is maybe a little bit of a red flag. That was a home start for him. St. Louis was able to hit him around. Maybe he got a little bit unlucky with the home runs there. If you look at his overall numbers, he does have a really high strikeout rate and a low hit rate, but his walk rate is too high. So his problem is the walks. He's walking like 1 guy every 2 innings. You can't do that, man. But other than that, his numbers do look good, and he's got the ability to fool major league hitters with that strikeout rate. So there are some things to like about Scott here. And his walk rate has actually gotten better recently, so that's at least a good thing. I did back him in that start against San Diego, I'm pretty sure, but that was a bad spot for San Diego. And, you know, it was San Diego. It was one of the best pitching matchups Scott was going to get. This one might not be as good, although Philadelphia, they've had their offensive issues, and they're not very good on the road. Scott has never seen them before. They've never seen him before, so Scott has the unfamiliarity edge here against them, so that should help him a little bit here. You know, it sounds a little insane, but this game kind of looks like an under to me. I think that might be the way to look at this. I think both pitchers might actually do all right. Although we have 74% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. Total is high at 9, and you're not going to see a total in very many Mets games being at 9. So the odds makers are kind of telling you they think this is going to be higher scoring, but I kind of don't think so. I think both starters might do all right here. I do tend to like pitchers coming back from the injured list, too, because I think they usually get undervalued, but they're actually, like, ready to go and whatever. Maybe not with Scott because he's young. Like, I like it more with, like, veteran pitchers, but I don't know. I mean, I think the pitching could be all right all around in this game. Money is also backing Philly, which kind of tells you that the lesser-known pitcher here in Rangel is actually getting the money here. So the professional money seems to think he will pitch well enough here, which kind of is more of to me, that's like an indicator towards the under, as I talk about. Minus 130 or so is the price on the Mets. It is crazy that the Mets are favored here. The public is going to be fading the Mets here, but the money does look like it's also fading the Mets here. So, it looks way too easy to play Philadelphia, though, as an underdog here, being the team with the way better record, although the odds makers kind of had to do this because Scott is just the more proven pitcher at this point. But yeah, I don't know, man. The price does kind of still seem a little bit too high on the Mets here, though. I don't have a good read on the side, though. My first instinct on this was to lean Mets, but then when I dug into the numbers, I don't know. It seems more under ish to me. Kansas City and Chicago, the White Sox. The White Sox won the game yesterday 22-1 against what I think it was a bullpen game for Kansas City yesterday. This was unbelievable, but it's misleading. The White Sox put up 23 hits and scored 22 runs. Usually, 23 hits is still a ton. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, that's true, but they should have put up about 13 or 14 runs here. 22 is ridiculous, obviously. It tied their franchise history record. That's tied for the most runs the White Sox have ever scored in a game, I believe. Kansas City went with a bullpen game, and they just got absolutely destroyed in this game. And Sandlin actually put up a really good performance there. But remember, Kansas City is a really weak road offense. They're not good on the road. But that was an embarrassing result, man. The White Sox might take Kansas City totally unseriously after beating them 22-1. When you see an outlier like that, I think you do want to kind of look to fade that in the next game. You know what I mean? So I was looking like, is there a way to play Kansas City here after that? But again, do you really want to back Kansas City's offense on the road? I mean, there are some spots where maybe you have to. This one, I'm not going to lie, this one almost made my card, but, I couldn't do it. But the White Sox only used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Kansas City used literally everybody, or not quite, but almost. They used whatever this is, 7 relief pitchers. I think they actually used more than that. They might have used, position players at that point. Obviously, whatever you do in this game, you should not back Kansas City's bullpen. I think that goes without saying. Either fade Kansas City's bullpen or avoid them in this game. Their bullpen was so bad yesterday that congratulations to the Minnesota Twins. You are not the worst bullpen anymore. Kansas City is worst in ERA and WHIP again now. Horrible. White Sox are kind of a mediocre bullpen at 21st. So their bullpen ERA isn't really that bad, though. White Sox offense moved all the way back up to 5th with that explosion yesterday. The Royals are 19th, but I don't really think they're that good, and they're not good on the road. However, they're not going to give up 22 runs again because Michael Wacha is pitching, so there's no way the Royals are going to put up that type of offense again. Wacha is pretty good, 3.48 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. He's not as good on the road, though, 4.02 road ERA. Still not bad. Wacha, he's been pretty consistent. He's allowed more than 4 earned runs only twice this season. Low strikeout rate. He doesn't strike guys out, but he's got a low hit rate, low walk rate. He's thrown a lot of innings. He's a steady pitcher. He doesn't put a lot of guys on base. He's got good numbers against the White Sox in 48 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. So his strikeout rate is actually high against them. 146 average, 434 OPS. Those are really good numbers. So Wacha, definitely, he has the capability of pitching well here. He could definitely come in and silence the White Sox a bit here. And he actually did do that at home earlier this year in April. He had an 8-inning shutout against the White Sox. So he does have the ability to shut these hitters down. Davis Martin, though, is pitching for the White Sox. Martin has been pretty good, although he's gotten a little bit worse recently. But he's got a 3.18 ERA, 1.2 WHIP. He's been awesome at home, 1.01 home ERA, so that's not exactly something I really want to fade here. His walk rate has gone up, though. He's walked 3 guys apiece in 3 of his last 4 starts all this month, and he's failed to go 5 innings in 2 of his starts this month. Both of them on the road, though, against Minnesota and then against the Yankees. You'd probably give him a pass for that Yankees start. The Minnesota one, maybe you have to, too, because Minnesota, believe it or not, they actually score a lot of runs, I'm pretty sure, especially, I think, in their home games. I think Minnesota has the highest scoring home games in Major League Baseball, but that's also because their bullpen is god-awful and gives up a ton of runs. But Minnesota does their offensive part at home. The good sign is that Martin did bounce back, allowing only 1 run last time out against Detroit. And he does draw at Kansas City here, and Kansas City doesn't hit well on the road. Martin did pitch well at Kansas City the one time he faced them this year. Didn't have a lot of strikeouts there, but he went 7 innings and held them to 2 earned runs, and he was very efficient with his pitches in that one. However, Martin actually does not have good numbers against Kansas City in 55 at-bats, so we have a good sample size here. 327 average, 842 OPS, 13-2 strikeout walk ratio. But what I will say is that most of those numbers were earlier in Martin's career. Like, this has been a breakout season for him, and Kansas City only faced him once this season, and he pretty much silenced them. So that's the thing. Like, how much weight do you want to give these numbers here? Because these numbers were all in the past. He wasn't good against them. And, this year he is better. It does look like he is bouncing back, although his walk rate is concerning this month. Over the course of the season, though, he does have a low hit rate, low walk rate, and a pretty high strikeout rate. So what do we want to do with this? Well, I mean, I'm not going to put it on my card, but I like Kansas City. I would go Kansas City first 5 here. You're going to get them as an underdog in the first 5. Probably not as much as you would in the full game, which is at minus 144. You're probably still looking at a first 5 underdog price on Kansas City, though. That's the way I would go. I'd go with Waka to outpitch Martin in the first 5 here. 76% of tickets on the White Sox, 88% of the cash on Kansas City. So the money is backing the Royals there. So do with that what you want, but the money seems like it does agree with me there. I would lean that way, like I said. So next game up is going to be my only other play of the day. So you guys can just leave and not have to listen to my bullshit or my voice. We're going to go with Arizona, but I'm going to make this a split bet. I mean, if you want to just take Arizona on the money line, I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm making it a split bet here to get the price more close to the minus 110 range here. This is about a minus 117 combined price on this. Arizona plus the 1.5 runs at minus 160 on the underdog run line and plus 135. I found that run line at the Roman Emperor book, and I found the money line at a different book, which I think was the book that used to be owned by ESPN, but it's now a scoreboard book. But still, I mean, I think if you go to the Roman Emperor's book, you're going to find similar numbers on both lines there. So the price will be very similar to this. Again, if you want to just go money line with it, you could do that. I think Arizona is going to win this game. This is against Tampa Bay here. Obviously, I wouldn't play it if I didn't think they were going to win or have a good chance to win. Like, at least I'm saying I think Arizona has a better chance to win than what these odds are here. Tampa Bay, they've looked good recently. They won again yesterday. They've looked too good recently, to be honest. Beating the Royals 13-2 at home. I mean, I'm not sure I'm that impressed by that. And then they won 6-1 in the first game of this series. And I know Arizona hasn't been hitting. Arizona is 26th in offense, tied with the Mariners right now. I know that's not good. And the Rays are 13th right now. They have been hitting better recently, but I like how this pitching matchup sets up for Arizona, man. And I think we do have a little bit of a bullpen edge with Arizona here, too. They only used 1 relief pitcher in the last 2 days because they got a day off because of a rainout. So this Arizona team is rested here, man. They didn't play on Thursday, and then Friday, yesterday, they only used 1 relief pitcher. So I think we do get a nice rest advantage here with Arizona. Tampa Bay had to play both of those days. They did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. And Tampa Bay's bullpen is not great. They're ranked 14th, but their ERA is worse than all these teams around them. So they're worse ERA-wise than that. Actually tied with Houston now in ERA. Although Houston's gotten better, like I said, that's why that's the case. Arizona's bullpen is at 8th, although, again, their ERA is not great, so I don't love their bullpen, but they do still have a better ERA than Tampa, and I think their bullpen sets up better here, so I like it. And I like the starting pitching. We're going to back José Cabrera. And I will say that when you play this, you should specify Cabrera must start for Arizona, but don't specify a starting pitcher for Tampa Bay. Well, let me think about that. Yeah, I think that's what I would do because my only worry is that Tampa Bay is going to switch to Rasmussen here because this is an evening game, so you don't really know exactly what they're going to do yet. But it looks like, as far as it is now, Tampa's going with a bullpen game. And my worry is that Tampa might go with the bullpen game, but use a different opener. You know what I mean? Cole Sulser is listed as the opener here right now. He's definitely going to be an opener. He's a relief pitcher. He does not go for deep appearances. He's also a 36-year-old with terrible numbers. So, although he hasn't allowed a run in his last 4 appearances, but he's probably only going to go about an inning here. And Rasmussen is actually scheduled to pitch tomorrow. So it does look like Tampa is sticking to the schedule here. And they will be going with a bullpen game here. So I like that. I'm trying to think of how you want to specify this, though, because the worry is, are they going to move Rasmussen up? That would be my one worry. Like, the only way that that's the one thing that would keep me away from Arizona here is if Tampa switches to Rasmussen here. That would be my only concern, but I don't think they're going to do that. So I think you go Arizona. Cabrera must start, and don't specify a starter for Tampa Bay. Or, you know, if you want to avoid the risk, you could specify Sulser must start. Or, I think here's what you do, actually. Here's the better way to do this. Wait. Wait until it gets closer to game time, and wait until the starting pitcher is announced, and then make the play. And specify both starters must start. You know what I mean? That's how I'm going to track this. Let's do it that way. I don't know if you're going to get exactly the same number here, but I don't think it's going to be that far off from this. So, yeah, I would just wait until the evening, keep an eye on it, and then once the pitchers are actually announced, as long as it's not Rasmussen, make the play with the starters must start. But I want to back Cabrera here, man. He's a young pitcher. He's literally only made 1 start so far in his Major League career, and it was good. He shut out Minnesota for 5 innings, only threw 62 pitches, had 3 hits allowed, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. I like it, man. It looks like he's off and running. Like, there was no nervousness with him there. That's good. I know this is going to be his first road start, but sometimes the home start is actually worse for your Major League debut because there's, like, more pressure on you. You know what I mean? You're in front of the home crowd. A lot of times you can be looser on the road because less is kind of expected of you. You know what I mean? And Tampa, of course, has never faced him before. So I think that's an extra advantage to him. So I like the setup. I like Cabrera here. I don't like the Tampa Bay setup if they're going with a bullpen game, obviously. So Arizona is the play there. All right, Washington and Baltimore in the D.C. area rivalry. Baltimore won yesterday 3-1, a surprisingly low-scoring game there. I don't know how that happened. This game today looks like it should be lower scoring than yesterday's game by far, but it's not going to be. I mean, this is not going to be a 4-run game here probably. Washington used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Baltimore used 3. I don't like either bullpen, as you know. Washington's is worse, though. Washington 26. They're really bad. Their ERA is over 5. Baltimore, mid-range bullpen at 17th. Not great. Offense is definitely going to do damage. Washington number 6. Baltimore 15. Which is why I thought yesterday looked like an over game, especially with the starting pitching. This starting pitching matchup looks way better than yesterday's, though. Washington's going with Foster Griffin. Griffin is having a shockingly good season, man, and it is continuing. He's got a 3.15 ERA, 1.06 whip. He's been basically the same home and away, so he's been good either way. He's allowed 1 run each in every outing this month. He's gone at least 5 innings in every single one of them. 24-2 strikeout walk ratio in 24 1/3 innings with 18 hits allowed. He's been really good this month, dude. He's obviously in good form right now. Not a lot to dislike here about Griffin. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate as well. His strikeout rate is pretty decent as well. Yeah, I mean, he's been one of the biggest surprises of the season. Baltimore also basically hasn't faced him. Only Taylor Ward has faced him. He is 1 for 2 with a double against him. No strikeouts, no walks. Obviously, no strikeouts. But Griffin, he's basically unfamiliar to Baltimore. He's pitching really well, so I think Griffin should continue to pitch pretty well here. Brandon Young is pitching for Baltimore. This has been kind of his breakout season so far, man. Young, I mean, he's always a guy that I've thought had some talent, but it never really materialized. But this year he's been pretty good. 3.07 ERA, 1.26 whip. Good at home, 2.8 home ERA. He's been pitching better recently. He's actually allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start through the beginning of May, and Baltimore's only lost 1 start of his since then. So they're doing well behind him, and he's pitching pretty well, although his walk number has gone up. Or, well, not really gone up, but his walk number has remained too high. I mean, I mean to say, but he hasn't been very hittable either. So the walks are still the concern with him. Also, his strikeout rate is not that high. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but his hit rate is low. His walk rate is too high. You know, the advanced analytics guys are going to say there is some regression probably in store for him here. His whip is not exactly excellent, but it's not terrible. I think he's all right, though. And the fact that he just gave up 1 earned run in 5 innings against the Dodgers last time out, that's a good sign, dude. You know, he's not intimidated by these bigger offenses, these elite offenses. Against Washington, he has not done well against Washington, though. Small sample size, 13 at-bats, 385 average allowed, though, 1192 OPS, 2-3 strikeout walk ratio. So that is a concern. He hasn't done well against Washington. He did actually face them in the middle of May. And he did only allow two runs against them, but that was his one really bad start in that entire span that I mentioned. Baltimore actually still won that game, but Young only went 3 2/3 innings in that one. He threw too many pitches, only allowed 2 runs, but he didn't make it deep into that game. So that was his worst outing since the beginning of May. It did happen to come against Washington. I still think this game does kind of look like a first 5 under, though. I kind of like how both starting pitchers set up, so I wouldn't disagree with the first 5 under. I would not include the bullpens for obvious reasons, but we have 58% of the tickets on the under and 90% of the cash on the over, and the total is high at 9, but it kind of has to be for a Washington game. Like, you kind of have to put a total high because Washington... Like Minnesota, Washington plays a ton of high-scoring games. Washington has a good offense and a terrible bullpen, and a lot of their starting pitchers are bad too. But Griffin is probably their best starting pitcher. So, I wouldn't disagree with Washington on the side either, though. Baltimore's around -120. 62% of the tickets are on Baltimore. The public wants Baltimore, but Washington is a very good road team. Washington has a much better road record than home record. They got home record. What? They got their best pitcher on the mound here. 70% of the cash on Washington. So the money is back in Washington. But again, if I was going to take Washington first 5 innings, you got to do it first 5 innings. I would not do it full game. Obviously, their bullpen is terrible, although you're going to get less of a good price on it. Like, they might even actually be a favorite in the first 5, but that's still the way that I would do that if I was going to play that side there. I forgot to take that down. All right. Seattle and Cleveland. I'm trying to go through this quick, man, because I also have to leave. Cleveland lost in the return home spot yesterday, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, you're returning home from a long road trip. It's not an easy spot, and Cleveland just doesn't score a lot at home or really in general right now, and their offense is pretty ugly right now with all these injuries. They lost 3-1 yesterday. Luis Castillo finally had a good start for once. But again, I told you I thought Castillo was going to start pitching better at some point, so that makes sense. Now, is this game going to be another under? I mean, it could. The odds makers have put up a low total here. They kind of have to in these Cleveland home games at this point because these games tend to be so low scoring. Cleveland used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Seattle used 3. Both bullpens are pretty good. Seattle's is better. Seattle's is ranked 15th, but their ERA is quite good, so I think they're like a top 10 bullpen. Cleveland is a little bit worse at 18th. Still a decent bullpen for Cleveland, though. Although they let me down at least once last week. Let me see. Or maybe, I think it was just once. I don't know. Cleveland's offense, like I said, really, really struggling recently at 28th. Seattle, though, they've been struggling too. They're at 26, tied with Arizona. Although I think Seattle is definitely the better offense here. But Seattle does have injuries as well. But they have more... They have more of an ability to overcome that just because their offense, when it's fully loaded, their offense is definitely better than Cleveland's. And with injuries on both sides, yeah, Seattle's offense is still the better one. Logan Gilbert is pitching for Seattle. He's been really good recently, and he's had a good season, too. 3.29 ERA, 1.01 whip. He's been really good on the road, 1.04 road ERA, although I said he was going to start getting better at home, which has happened because just the amount of home runs he's allowed at home made absolutely no sense. Seattle's a very pitcher-friendly ballpark, and he's typically been good there. But he's been pitching really good on the road, so I don't think you really want to fade him here. And he's been in really good form. He's allowed 1 or 0 earned run in whatever this is, 5 of his last 6 starts. And his team has won every one of those games. So, yeah, he's pitching really well right now. This should be an easy matchup for him as well against Cleveland. He's got really good numbers against Cleveland and 48 at bats, 16-0 strikeout walk ratio here. Is that good? Yeah. 208 batting average, 625 OPS. Gilbert should do well again here. He's in really good form. The road numbers look really good. He's got a really good matchup here. He should outpitch Slade Ciccone, who is definitely not as good. 4.48 ERA for him, 1.4 whip, not very good. He's a little bit better at home, though, 4.07 home ERA. And Ciccone has actually been better this month. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start this month. He's got at least 5 innings in all of them, and he was not having easy opponents here. He faced the Yankees twice in a row, Milwaukee and Houston, and Cleveland lost every one of those games. That's because Cleveland scored no more than 2 in any of those games. So, yeah, he's actually pitching pretty well right now. Cleveland's offense has been awful behind him, so he's getting absolutely no help from them. But he is in good form right now, so I don't really want to fade him, although a little bit of a red flag. They only had 1 strikeout last time out against Houston. But, yeah, I mean, he's definitely been good. Really going kind of through like the middle of May. He's been pretty good. So he does look pretty good right now. His hit rate is still too high on the season, though. His walk rate is not that bad, though. And his strikeout rate is low. He's not a strikeout guy. But he is pitching better right now, and he does have good numbers against the Mariners in 29 at-bats, 241 average, 657 OPS, 8-3 strikeout walk ratio. So Ciccone, yeah, I mean, I still like Seattle in this game, but Cleveland is in one of those spots that's a bounce-back spot, like I always talk about. When a team returns home from the road and they don't do well in that game, a lot of times they do bounce back and they play a much better game in the second game. So I don't really want to take Seattle here. You're going to have to play them as a road favorite if you do play them here, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Where are we looking at? Yeah. Seattle's, minus 148 basically here. Looks like they are getting some of the money, although they are also public. 85% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. The money's also backing the over. 55% of tickets on the under, 62% of the cash on the over. I think this game looks like an under. Both starting pitchers actually have pretty good matchup numbers here. They're both in pretty good form right now. And we got 2 pretty good bullpens here. So, yeah, I think the under makes more sense in that game. It might make more sense than anything else. Although I'd still agree with the Seattle side if you really wanted to play a side there, because I think they have the better starting pitcher here still, and they have the better bullpen and the better offense. So I'd still lean to Seattle because I think they have all the matchup edges, but that is a little bit of a price there. Seems like the public and maybe the professionals are all on Seattle there, though. But yeah, an under to me does make sense in that game, too. Total 7.5, juice to the under, so it is low for a reason. All right, Cubs and Milwaukee. Milwaukee, even though they're returning home, they had Misiorowski on the mound yesterday, so I really did not want to fade that. Milwaukee still had all the matchup edges and a rest advantage yesterday because the Cubs had that doubleheader a couple days ago. Milwaukee got the win, not really surprising. They won 6-2. Misiorowski threw a 105.5-mile-an-hour pitch in the game yesterday, which was the highest pitch recorded in a Major League Baseball game in the last, 20 years or something. I need to look at who do we think threw that pitch that was that fast? I think they said it was actually in, 2008, I think is what I saw. I was trying to guess who that pitcher would have been. Which pitcher in 2008, was the fastest? It had to have been a relief pitcher, right? Because Misiorowski is the only, unless the stat was that it came from a starter. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But usually, nobody throws quite that hard, though. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up, but it was something like that. Anyway, Milwaukee, they do have the better bullpen here. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. The Cubs only used 2, so they did start being able to rest their bullpen a little bit here. So the Cubs should be in a little bit better shape here. They're the 11th ranked bullpen. Milwaukee's 12th, but Milwaukee's got the better bullpen ERA. I think Milwaukee is the better bullpen here. The Cubs are the slightly better offense at 7, Milwaukee 10th. Cubs, though, I mean, this is, I don't know what to say about this. Look who's pitching for the Cubs, man, making his Cub debut. He was just released by the Mets. Our good pal, David Peterson, is making the start, I guess, for the Cubs here. They might put an opener in front of him, though. I don't know. I wouldn't be entirely sure that Peterson is actually going to make the start here, but whatever, man. The Cubs, they got some injuries in the rotation here, so they picked up David Peterson, and I am not a fan. I mean, why would I be? 6.09 ERA, 1.65 whip. This is some bad stuff here. He was a little bit better on the road, though, so far. 5.03 road ERA with the Mets this year. Wasn't pitching well at all this month, and the Mets got rid of him. He'd allowed 13 earned runs in 10 2/3 innings this month. Yeah, that's not good. On 15 hits, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, nothing to like about any of those numbers. So the Mets got rid of him. And that's even a worse sign. Like if you're on like one of the teams with the worst records in baseball and they get rid of you, that is really not a good sign. He's not even good enough for the Mets. However, he's now on a contending team. The Cubs, they might be a playoff team here. So the one thing about this is that when a pitcher goes from like a bad scenario like the Mets where the team's not playing well and they go to a team that actually is a contender like the Cubs, he might actually pitch better. He might actually be excited to be on a contending team. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't really blindly fade Peterson here, but his numbers suck. He's got a high hit rate, really high. His walk rate is also terrible. His strikeout rate is okay. He does induce a lot of ground balls still, but that masks how bad he is a lot of the time. His numbers against Milwaukee, though, are actually really pretty good. And 49 at-bats, 184 batting average, 523 OPS, 14-8 strikeout walk ratio. That's the only bad number here, again, is the walks. So Peterson actually could be excited here, and he does draw actually a decent matchup for himself here against Milwaukee. So I'm not going to blindly fade Peterson here, but he's obviously the lesser pitcher here, going up against Kyle Harrison, who's been excellent. 2.5 ERA, 1.06 whip, 1.29 ERA at home. He's been really, really good, obviously. He had one stumble at that A's stadium in Vegas, so I'm going to completely give him a pass for that. He's bounced back completely on his last 2 starts. He's been fine in both of those, better than fine. Harrison's been awesome like all season except for that one bad start for the most part. A little bit shaky really early in the season, but other than that, low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate. Really only things to like about Harrison here. And he also dominates the Cubs. 27 at-bats. They only have 1 extra base hit, a double from Horner. He's only allowed 2 hits to them. 13 strikeouts, 1 walk, so half of the at-bats have been strikeouts. 0.74, basically. 0.74 average, allowed 218 OPS. Harrison is absolutely burned through this lineup. Although now the Cubs will have seen him a little bit more, so maybe that'll help them a little bit. But, when I first looked at this, I was like, you have to lean Milwaukee here. Like, Harrison against Peterson, come on, man. And I still think I probably do lean that way, but Peterson, there are some reasons why maybe he won't be that bad here. Milwaukee is minus 160 something here. I mean, it's probably justified given what this pitching matchup is. The money is coming in slightly that way, even though they're public. 88% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the Brewers. If you wanted to do a split bet, partially run line, partially money line in Milwaukee, I could see why you'd want to do it. I'm not going to get there with that, though. The money's also backing the over. 65% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over. I do not buy that. Total at 8. Although, if you do think the over is correct and the money is backing it, and you do think Milwaukee will win, then naturally, Milwaukee going over their team total makes sense here. You could take Milwaukee to just score some runs here against good old Peterson. However, I actually think an under makes more sense in this game. The total's at 8. The Cubs' bullpen's in a little bit better shape now after they were able to rest yesterday for the most part. Both starting pitchers might actually do well enough for that to happen, so I think an under makes sense in that game. And to me, you would think the public would come in on an over in a Cubs and Brewers game, because everybody just kind of knows both these teams could score some runs, so I don't know. I think an under does actually kind of make sense there. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'll talk about the rest of these. I will say hello. What's up? Charles, Mr. Pinsey. I gave you guys the bets already. Those are my only plays today, yes. So Cincinnati first 5 and Arizona split bet, run line, money line. Those are my only plays. I will be back in a second. All right. Next game is Colorado, Minnesota. I did talk about yesterday how this looked like an over series, although I wasn't sure about that pitching matchup yesterday. But yeah, that game went over. 9-8 Minnesota win. I did just talk about how Minnesota plays the highest scoring home games in baseball because they score decently and their bullpen, I mean, is terrible. Looking at the bullpens, yeah, Minnesota is 29th out of 30, only because the Royals were so bad yesterday that they overtook Minnesota. So congratulations. Colorado 27th. They got their ERA below 5 again. Still really not good. Both teams have been able to hit. The Rockies are 8th, Minnesota 9th in offense. So, again, this does look like it's going to be a series with overs coming in. We already did have one. This does look more over-conducive this time. I'm not going to do it, but probably that would be the way I would look at this game. Michael Lorenzen is pitching for the Rockies. He is not good at all. 7.11 ERA. 1.83 whip is ridiculously bad. He is better on the road. I mean, it makes sense. You know, pitching in Coors Field is awful, but his ERA on the road is still bad. 6.05. That's not good. He has pitched a little bit better this month, though. Does have 22 strikeouts and 6 walks this month. That's not too bad. He's been too hittable, but it was mostly one start against Anaheim. So his last 3 starts, he's actually been significantly better, really, against the Cubs and Pittsburgh in those 3 starts. So those were not easy offenses to face. So Lorenzen is actually pitching a little bit better right now, but it's still, he has a ridiculously high hit rate. His walk rate is not too bad, but it's not great. His strikeout rate is not great. There's not a lot to like here. His numbers against Minnesota are not very good. 267 average, 806 OPS, allowed in 75 at bats, 14-5 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, I mean, I still think he's probably fadeable here. Minnesota's got the wild card here with Mike Paredes going here. 4.05 ERA for him, 1.2 whip. He's made 5 appearances so far, 3 starts all this season. He's been okay. I mean, I don't know, man. If you look at his numbers, he's got a low hit rate, but his walk rate is way too high. His strikeout rate is really low. That worries me that he's just not fooling hitters, you know. He's not really going deep into games either. He finally went 5 innings last time out against Arizona, but he only had 1 strikeout there. So I don't know what to think about him. I don't think he's that good, though, if he's not striking anybody out. Paredes, he's got no history against Colorado, so he's unfamiliar to them. So maybe he'll be able to pitch well here against Colorado. I still think over is probably the way to go here. You could go Twins over their team total just to take that question mark out of the equation with Paredes and just go with the Minnesota to do scoring off of Colorado. But if you go full game on this, like Minnesota's bullpen is probably going to be pitching many innings in this game. So that may be the way you want to go. And I forgot to look at the bullpen usage here. Minnesota used 4 guys yesterday. Colorado used 5. So, yeah, I mean, full game over does make sense. And then you take advantage of 2 really bad bullpens. 63% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. The total is mostly 9.5 out there. There is a 9 at the Roman Emperor's book there. So you can get it on that key number of 9 and go over there with a little bit of juice on the over. That's probably the way to play that game, but it's not going to be on my card. I think too many question marks there. Miami and St. Louis. Miami got the win yesterday. I was right about that game. I thought it would be a low-scoring Miami win. That was exactly what it was. It was a 4-0 Miami win behind Max Meyer. Miami is really downgrading in their pitching for today's game, though. Miami does have a good bullpen, and they only used 2 guys yesterday, 2 over the last 2 days because they were resting the day before that. St. Louis, more mediocre in the bullpen department, used 3 guys, and they did rest the day before that too because they had a rain out. But St. Louis is number 22 in bullpen. They're not really that good. Miami's number 2. Not in ERA, but their bullpen is still one of the better. They're like the 4th best bullpen ERA, or 5th maybe, whatever it was. This is a good Miami bullpen, though. Offensively, not so much for Miami. Where are they at? They're 18th, and St. Louis is 16th, so both kind of middle-of-the-pack offenses. Miami's going with Ryan Gusto, though, and, I do not trust Gusto at all. He's not good. 6 ERA, 1.61 whip, 10.8 road ERA. That is not good. I tried to fade him last time out with San Francisco, and that was a home game for Gusto, and he wasn't even really that good. He didn't even go the full 5 innings there, but we still couldn't get it done. I don't know if it was a push or a loss for us there. I think we backed Logan Webb there. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Gusto, yeah, I mean, just can't trust San Francisco's offense, I guess, man. Gusto, I mean, he hasn't pitched that much this year. He's got a high hit rate, though. His walk rate's too high as well. Strikeout rate is not horrible, but there's not a lot to like here. He hasn't been seen before by St. Louis, so I guess he does have that advantage of unfamiliarity, but I would not want to touch Gusto here. Andre Payante is pitching for the Cardinals. He's actually been decent recently. 3.59 ERA overall, 1.19 whip. Those numbers are not bad. He's been worse at home, though. 4.17 home ERA. But he's been good. This month, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all 4 starts, but he's faced all pretty weak offenses here. Texas, Mets, San Diego, Arizona. He's had 6 games in a row where his team has won all of those games, though, with him starting. So St. Louis is playing well behind him. He's got good numbers this month. 16 hits in 24 2/3 innings, 18 strikeouts, 4 walks. Not a high strikeout rate, but rest of these numbers are good. But again, against weak offenses. But Miami is not exactly a strong offense. He's got a low hit rate on the season. His walk rate's fairly low as well. Strikeout rate is also low, though. He's more of a ground ball pitcher. He doesn't strike a lot of guys out, which, again, the advanced analytics guys don't like. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Like, I usually look at the whip to try to determine what I think. His numbers are good against Miami. They only have 6 hitters who have faced him, 23 at-bats, no extra base hits, 217 average, 435 OPS, 4.0 strikeout walk ratio. So, yeah, Payante, I think, should pitch well here, even though he hasn't been as good at home. I think St. Louis is the way to look here. I think they bounce back and they get this win here. They got the pitching edge, but the money doesn't agree with me. 74% of tickets, 71% of the cash on St. Louis. You would think the public would kind of be backing Miami, though, because Miami's been hot. I think they've won like 5 games in a row or something. But, of course, the odds makers are telling you they don't buy it, especially with this pitching matchup. I mean, you have to make Gusto an underdog, especially on the road. Minus 140 is about the price on St. Louis. I would go first 5 on St. Louis, though. I would not go full game because Miami's bullpen is definitely better. The money is also backing the over in this game. I don't know about that. I think St. Louis is the better way to look. I think you could lay a run line in the first 5. Maybe that's the way you want to go. Because the price is going to be a bit higher to go St. Louis first 5 because the odds makers know Miami's got the better bullpen. So laying a half run in the first 5 is probably what I would do with St. Louis in that one. What's going on here? Oh, we have towers going on in the chat. All right, I was like, am I getting spammed? What's going on here? All right, Dodgers, San Diego on MLB Network, because this is one of the big matchups of the weekend. San Diego behind Walker Buehler, 7-1 win yesterday. Probably not a good sign for Sasaki, who pitched in that game. But, yeah, the Dodgers are probably going to win this game tonight, though. If you haven't seen what the starting pitching matchup looks like yet. Yeah. I said that I thought that was a beneficial starting pitching matchup. I gave out a lean towards San Diego first 5 last night in that one. This is not beneficial at all to San Diego tonight, though. The Dodgers are the way better team, so highly likely the Dodgers are going to win this game here. The Dodgers did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday, though. San Diego used 4 as well. San Diego does have the better bullpen. They're basically elite. They have the second best bullpen ERA. They're ranked 6th in WHIP, but I think they're probably the second best bullpen. Dodgers, not too bad. They're actually ranked 5th in WHIP, although they're not as good as San Diego. ERA-wise, they're a bit behind there by 3/4 of a run. Dodgers are still the number 1 offense, and rightfully so. San Diego's the last ranked offense. So, again, we have the number 1 offense versus the number 30 offense here. Dodgers are also going with Yoshinobu Yamamoto here, so that is a big step up from Sasaki. Yamamoto, 2.65 ERA, 0.87 WHIP is really good. He's been good on the road as well, 2.18 road ERA. This is also going to be a pitcher-friendly environment. He faced San Diego back in mid-May, and he pretty much dominated them here in this stadium. However, the Dodgers scored 0 in that game, and he lost the game 1-0, but wasn't his fault. He was excellent in that game. He's been good, pretty much the entire season. I mean, what else is there to say? He's allowed 1 or fewer earned run in all but one of his outings since mid-May. He's got a decent strikeout rate and really low hit rate and really low walk rate, too. So it all looks pretty good for him. His numbers against San Diego, though, actually don't look that good, although he dominated them the one time he faced them this year. 69 at-bats, 20 strikeouts, 8 walks, 261 average, 845 OPS. Does that mean we should fade Yamamoto? No. But those numbers are a little bit questionable. So, you don't like to see that when you have a good pitcher and his matchup numbers happen to just not be good against that particular team. But can you really predict that this awful offense from San Diego is really going to do that much damage against Yamamoto? I don't know. Randy Vasquez is pitching for San Diego, and he's just fallen off again. He's not good, dude. I've been saying that, looking at his numbers throughout his career, like his whip was always too high. This year I tried to back him a few times, and I think we did get at least 1 or 2 wins out of that, but his whip was better, and now it's not. So I'm like, okay, the advanced analytics guys got this right. Vasquez isn't good. He's got a 4.17 ERA, which looks all right, but his 1.4 whip is not good. Somehow he's been really bad at home, 4.99 home ERA, even though this is a pitcher-friendly park. He doesn't pitch well at home. He's been not very good recently. He's failed to make it 5 innings in 2 of his last 4 outings, and he was mostly facing some kind of weak offenses here, too. So he got lit up in Texas last time out, and I think we lost an under in that game, so not good. Not good. Not a good sign that he did that poorly in Texas, where basically nobody scores in Texas. He's got a bad hit rate. His hit rate is well above his amount of innings pitched. His walk rate is not terrific. Strikeout rate really low. He's a fly ball pitcher, too. I don't know. There's not really a lot to like here with Vasquez. His numbers against the Dodgers are a little bit weird. In 45 at-bats, he's allowed a pretty low 244 average, but they've hit him for power. 838 OPS is pretty high. 6-5 strikeout walk, or 5-6 strikeout walk ratio, my mistake. That's not really good either. So I think Vasquez is probably going to get hit around a bit here. I actually think an over kind of makes sense in this game, even though I don't know if you really want to try to fade Yamamoto. But the over could happen anyway with how good the Dodgers are offensively on the road usually. 67% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the over here. Totals at 8. 93% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the Dodgers at -200. You can't really lay -200 on the road with the Dodgers, man. I mean, if you really wanted to go like run line with it, I guess you could, because I do think they will bounce back, but San Diego has the better bullpen too, but that might not really help if Vasquez sucks and he's out of the game early. Maybe the best way to play this is to go Dodgers over their team total, you know. I think that might be the way to go here. Just expecting the Dodgers bounce back. Yamamoto, I think, has kind of a wide possibility here because he doesn't have good matchup numbers, but he is a good pitcher. So I think he could do anything from good to bad here. So I think over Dodgers team total probably makes the most sense there. You're going to need him to get probably 6 runs, though, to get over that thing. So I don't know if I really want to do that, but you'll get all 9 at-bats against them. Well, I mean, revenge isn't exactly a thing. Like, I mean, it's more, the team's just going to be more focused and make adjustments off of it. San Diego's not going to overlook the Dodgers either. It's just that the Dodgers are the better team. When you get the better team off a loss like that, usually they do play well. Atlanta at San Francisco. Atlanta won the game yesterday. Not too surprising there. It was 3-1. It was another low-scoring San Francisco game. As I keep saying, San Francisco, their offense is not good, dude. Don't let those huge offensive numbers they put up in those 3 games lie to you because they are not good. San Francisco used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Atlanta used 4, but they're relatively rested in the bullpen department, although I think they did have to use some of their better relievers, but they have a deep bullpen. They're the number 1 bullpen in baseball in whip and ERA by quite a bit. San Francisco has not been very good, 24th. Kind of surprises me because one thing they actually did do well last year was pitch out of the bullpen, and that has not been the case this year. Hitting-wise, the Braves have fallen off a little bit. They're 11th now, although they do hit better on the road. And San Francisco is 12th, but I don't buy it. I think San Francisco is a bottom 10 offense. They suck. Atlanta is the better offense. However, Atlanta probably does not have the starting pitching edge here with Bryce Elder pitching. He still has good numbers on the season, 3.71 ERA, 1.21 whip. He's not as good on the road, though, 4.41 road ERA, and his last 2 starts have been horrible. Absolutely horrible. He got wrecked by the Mets, which is not a good sign, and then that carried over into a start against Milwaukee. He's given up 22 hits in his last 10 innings, dude, on top of 14 runs allowed. Is that good? Yeah, no. Elder is getting absolutely massacred right now, so there's no way that I could back Elder here. Even though his numbers are fine-ish on the season, his hit rate is still good, his walk rate's still pretty good, strikeout rate is low, but he's just getting absolutely hit around, dude. He's putting pitches over the plate, not fooling anybody. Yeah, he's not in good form here. And San Francisco actually does hit him well, even though their offense is putrid. They have a 333 average, 968 OPS against him in 48 at-bats, 9-4 strikeout walk ratio. So Elder does not do well against these guys. I don't think he's going to pitch well here. Logan Webb is pitching for the Giants, and I think he's the better of these 2 pitchers. Webb has been in way better form than Elder recently. Webb has completely turned it around. After he wasn't that good early in the season, he actually got injured as well, but he's been really good over his last few starts. He's got his ERA down to 3.35, 1.12 whip, and we know that Webb has basically been the most steady pitcher in the Giants' rotation for the last few years. 3.92 ERA at home. He is usually better at home, though. Like last year, he was better at home, so I'm not too concerned by his home ERA being a little bit higher. He's got 8 innings each in his last 3 starts, so yeah, I know his pitch count is getting up there, but he's a grinder, dude. I call him the grinder because he's known for going deep into all these starts, so he's kind of used to that sort of thing, so that doesn't worry me that much. He's been really good this month. He's allowed 3 runs in 31 innings. 3 earned runs, sorry. One unearned run in there. 18 hits allowed, 23 strikeouts, 2 walks. Yeah, those are some pretty good numbers here. And he faced Milwaukee, Washington, the Cubs. I mean, he's not getting, easy offenses here either. His numbers against the Braves, though, not very good. In 119 at-bats, 345 average, 831 OPS. 24-3 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. So I probably do like San Francisco here, but I would do it first 5 because the Braves bullpen is way better. But you're laying minus 130 something with San Francisco here if you do want them. If you go first 5, you're probably looking at an even bigger price tag on them. maybe like minus 140 something. That's still the way I would probably go with San Francisco first 5 money line, but Atlanta's getting the money, 53% of tickets, 86% of the cash on them. I don't like that. Like, Atlanta looks way too easy. It looks way too easy to play the Braves. Like, how are you getting the Braves as an underdog here against a team with a way worse record? You know what I mean? So that would concern me with the Braves. It looks way too easy to play them. Plus, Elder, not good. You know, I mean, the better way to play this game is maybe to just play it over. Both starting pitchers have bad matchup numbers. It's possible they both struggle here. 68% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. The total's at 8. It's kind of a reasonable total here. 7.5 is out there too, but the odds makers are telling you they think it's actually going to be a lower scoring game. But when you dig into the matchup numbers, and Elder has just been in horrific form recently, I don't know, man. I mean, an over could happen here. Although, again, Webb, I mean, I don't really want to fade Webb, though. That's the thing. He's been awesome recently. Why are you a fan of the Giants pitchers? They've mostly been horrible, except for Webb. I mean, their bullpen has been awful. Every one of their starters besides Webb has been pretty atrocious. I don't know what there is to like about that. The A's and Anaheim, I am not liking this at all. I don't even want to talk about that shit yesterday. It was looking like we were definitely going to get that one right when it's 1-0 going into the 5th inning. And then, you're going to have 10 runs put up on the board in that one inning alone, or 9 runs, I guess, whatever it was. So 9 out of the 12 runs in the game came home, and literally in the 5th inning. So that's really fucking helpful. If it was the 6th inning, we would have won. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, so A's won the game 9-3 yesterday. I mean, the A's are the better team, though. Bullpen-wise, neither bullpen is good. Anaheim used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The A's used 3 as well. Neither bullpen is good. The A's are 23rd. The Angels are 25th. I would fade both bullpens here or avoid them. A's are number 4 in offense. The Angels are 17th. I mean, it does kind of seem like it's a series that does make for more overs. I don't think I'd want to do that here, though. I mean, Jack Perkins is pitching for the A's. He's very unpredictable to me. He's not that young, but he's kind of new to Major League Baseball because I think the start to his career got delayed. He's got some talent. He's got some strikeout ability, but he hasn't really been that good. 6.26 ERA. 1.37 whip does indicate that his ERA should be better than 6.26, though. His ERA is basically the same home and away. But again, he also has to pitch in that horrible A's ballpark, so that doesn't help him really. His overall numbers here, like I said, he has a really good strikeout rate. His strikeout rate's really high. His walk rate is only slightly high, really, and his hit rate is not too bad. So digging into these numbers here, he's not as bad as his ERA makes it look. He was mostly pitching out of the bullpen. He's been making kind of more full starts recently, but it hasn't really been that good. And he literally just faced Anaheim in his last outing. He gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, but he did only give up 4 hits and have 8 strikeouts and 2 walks. So that was better than it looked, basically. And he's faced some difficult offenses here this month, so I think maybe he's a bit better. He's definitely better than his ERA would suggest. His numbers against Anaheim are also actually good, even though that last start didn't look that good. 33 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, 152 average, 564 OPS. That's pretty good. And he's going up against Reed Detmers, who, I am a fan of Detmers. I think he's good. 3.93 ERA. His whip is quite good at 1.05. He's better on the road, but he's still, I don't know. I mean, at home, 4.5 home ERA, which is where he is today. That's not great, but digging into his numbers, these numbers are not bad at all at home. His opponent batting average at home is 200. So I think it's a little bit misleading that his ERA is 4.5 at home. He did just face the A's on the road. He went 6 innings. He gave up 5 runs on 6 hits. He was too walk heavy, though. He gave up 4 walks in that one, but he is not a guy that walks that many guys, so I'm really going to give him a pass for that. He's been pretty good recently otherwise, and his overall numbers this season, low hit rate, low walk rate, high strikeout rate, everything that you like to see. I like Detmers. I think he's good. His numbers against the A's are pretty good. In 66 at-bats, 242 average, 643 OPS, although 20-8 strikeout walk ratio is not that good. But the rest of those numbers are good. This game, dude, I mean, I think it kind of looks like a first 5 under again here. I mean, it should have been for us yesterday. I don't want to do it in this one. I think Perkins is definitely a big mystery here, but the money is actually backing the under this time in this game, in the full game at 8.5. 55% of tickets on the over, 55% of the cash on the under. I would obviously not go full game. I would go first 5 under if I was going to go under here. There's no way you can play a full game with these bullpens. And Anaheim is getting the money, and I don't disagree with that. 50-50 on the tickets, 75% of the cash on Anaheim at about minus 114 here. But again, I would only do it first 5. I do not want these bullpens at all. So I think Anaheim first 5 money line is probably not too expensive, but I think they do have the better starter there. He's definitely more established. So those are my opinions on that game. All right. WNBA, and then I'll get out of here. We have 3 games here. Phoenix and Toronto on CBS and Paramount Plus. Toronto is coming off a 125-97 win over LA in a return home spot. I mean, how do you score 125 points at a WNBA game? I have absolutely no idea. And when a team does that, I want to look to fade them in the next game because they're not going to put up 125 points ever again on the season. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's just such a ridiculous outlier. Like, I did not even look at the box score, but to see that is just insane. There were some outliers in that game. Toronto, it was a return home spot, too, which is not even a good spot. I don't know how they did that. They got Dallas next and then Golden State. They might look ahead to that because Phoenix has not been playing well, so they might overlook Phoenix coming off a ridiculous scoring effort, and then they got bigger games on deck. Although it's after a break. We have the Cup break is happening after this, so Tuesday is going to be the Cup final, and we get like a week break, which means I don't have to handicap WNBA for a while. And after starting 5-0 in the WNBA and then taking 2 bullshit losses in the WNBA, we're now 6-5 on the show in WNBA, which really fucking pisses me off. 2 or 3 of those should have been wins. It probably should have been a win last night, but a couple of the other ones, that Connecticut one back, a month ago or whatever, was some unbelievable bullshit. This game, though, if you couldn't tell, I'm going to lean to Phoenix here, but the problem is Phoenix is coming off a good game here, too. They just upset Indiana on the road, so they could be in a letdown spot here. Not really a big game on deck. I think Toronto's spot is a little bit worse here. We're also looking at, this is a revenge game. I don't know how much that really matters, but Phoenix did lose at home by 8 to Toronto in mid-May, so they may have some adjustments to make. I just think that will make Toronto maybe overlook them a little bit more, but I really don't want Phoenix off a nice upset win at Indiana either, though. Plus, that was that game where Carter or whatever shoved Clark in the neck because everybody just assaults Clark on the court. So she's suspended. She's not playing in this game. I think her name is Carter, right? Whatever her name is. I don't know how good she even is, but she's suspended in this game. How will Phoenix react to that? I don't know. I don't treat it the same way as the injured player theory spot, though, where like a team is going to step up their game after they have an injured player. I don't think that's going to be the case with Phoenix, but maybe you do get a little bit extra line value here. I don't even know how good she is. I mean, she's obviously not a good person. The money's coming in on Toronto here, though. They're up to 6.5 or 5.5 here. I think some of that is because of the suspension, though. That's the only reason why the line would have moved up on Toronto like that. 67% of tickets, 90% of the cash on Toronto. But no, I would lean to taking the points with Phoenix slightly, but I don't like either team in that game. LA at Indiana, also on CBS Paramount Plus. That first game's in the afternoon. This game is at night. Indiana coming off that bad loss at home, and Caitlin Clark also got hurt. A lot of WNBA personalities are saying the WNBA needs to do a better job at protecting their players in reference to Clark, but she's actually injured now with a back injury. So we do have an injured player theory spot with Indiana here, and they're staying at home, and they're coming off a loss as a favorite, and you can kind of explain what happened there because Indiana had beaten Phoenix the game before that. So it was a zigzag spot, basically. Phoenix could make the adjustments there. I think I gave out a lean on Phoenix there. So this looks like a positive spot for Indiana here because they're coming off a loss as a favorite at home, and usually when that happens, the team will bounce back, especially when you can explain it. It's an injured player theory spot, so you're going to get value probably on Indiana here, right? Because you know how that works. When your star player goes down, the line over-adjusts. Alyssa Thomas, whatever the fuck her name is. The line will over-adjust to a star player like Caitlin Clark being out, so you can get more value on that team, and that team will usually step up their game. I think you're going to see Indiana come out with effort, right, because they want to kind of play for Clark, you would have to imagine, after what happened to her in the last game, and plus her being injured, they know they have to play hard to accommodate for that. LA is still without their best player, Plum. She's been out for a while, so she's not playing here. However, LA did just come off that embarrassing loss where Mabry on Toronto set a WNBA record or tied it with 53 points in that game. That was an embarrassing loss for LA there, and you can kind of explain that because LA had just pulled off a nice win over New York, a win from me on the show, by the way. LA had just pulled off that win over New York, so I think LA was in a bad spot after that. Probably kind of a sandwich spot, too, looking ahead to this. So I don't really want to lay the points with Indiana here just because LA is coming off an embarrassing loss. However, LA is not a good defensive team, man. They're not. And with their best scorer, Plum, on the bench here, she's injured. LA might not be able to keep up with Indiana's amount of scoring here. Indiana's still going to score without Caitlin Clark, against this LA defense. So I still like Indiana here. The money does agree with that one at -6.5. 50-50 on the ticket, 65% of the cash on Indiana. I would lean to Indiana there. And then we have Atlanta and Seattle. Atlanta has having to play on a back-to-back. You don't usually see this in the WNBA, man. Atlanta's playing a back-to-back in a third game in 4 days, although the first two were both in the same city at Golden State. But I don't know why the league is doing this, dude. And I'm still pissed. They should have won that game last night. I'm fucking pissed about that. Now they're going to Seattle. They might not pay attention to Seattle, dude. I know Atlanta's lost 2 games in a row, but that was a tough game last night against Golden State. And now no turnaround time. They have to play a third game in 4 days. They're playing back-to-back, playing a team that sucks in Seattle, and then they have the break after this. I don't see them paying attention to Seattle here, man. Seattle's been playing a little bit better recently. I think they've won 2 games in a row. No, they've won 1 game recently. They almost beat Dallas the game before that. But my problem with Seattle here is they just pulled off a huge upset against New York. And I think they probably caught New York in a decent spot, too, because New York's been playing all these bigger games surrounding that game. I'm going to lean to Seattle here just because they are staying at home and they do have rest, and they probably will show up still for a game against Atlanta. But I don't love that they're coming off an upset of New York, and they only have 1 day off between the two, although they hadn't played since Monday prior to that, so they are still the more rested team here. But they're coming off 2 big performances. One good thing, though, is they ended a long losing streak. So they had lost whatever that was. They'd lost 11 games in a row, and they finally ended that losing streak. So a lot of times when a team ends a losing streak, they will carry that momentum forward and play better. So I lean Seattle here. The money does agree with that. 71% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Seattle. I should probably be making some of these plays because my leans in the WNBA have been probably better than my plays, even though I started off 5-0. I'm trying to be selective here, man. And I think the spots that I'm picking are good. I know what I'm doing, man. Atlanta's laying 7.5 here now, so the line's gone down from the opener. So the money definitely is playing Seattle here. Looks like you can get 8 on this. That's still what I would do. I would take the 8 points with Seattle. All right. And then we have World Cup here. I think if I was going to, I'm not going to play any World Cup today. I think if I was going to play any World Cup, I'm skipping 2 days in a row. If I was going to play any World Cup game today, I was looking at playing Croatia here in the first game up, which is at 5 p.m. All these games are on the Fox networks. You know how to find it. Fox Sports 1, Fox 1 Online, whatever. And then the Spanish channels, Telemundo and Universo, if you want to hear goal. This game is in Philadelphia. I believe Ghana is coming in from playing in Foxborough, I believe, against England. And Croatia is coming in from Toronto, I want to say. I forget, but The reason why I was leaning Croatia here is because Croatia is coming off a bad performance. They only beat Panama 1-0. They at least got the win there. Croatia definitely needed the win there to get the 3 points. Panama is not very good. Croatia did outplay them more than it looks on the scoreboard, though. If you dig into that matchup, like Croatia should have won that game more easily. So they're coming off a very unimpressive outing there, whereas Ghana is coming off a very impressive showing where they had a draw, 0-0 draw with England. So Ghana's going to get more credit for that, in my opinion, coming off that huge performance against England where they were a huge underdog. I think England was like minus 500 there. So for those reasons, just based on what the last matchup looked like, I lean Croatia here. Croatia does have more World Cup experience as well. So you're looking at the more experienced team in a game that does somewhat matter here. If you look at what's going on in this group L here, Croatia needs the game more. Like Ghana, they could pick up no points here and still advance, I think, because they have 4 points already. So I think if Ghana winds up in third place, they're still going to advance here. So Croatia, they need it, dude. Croatia is sitting at a negative goal differential with 3 points. I don't think that's going to be enough. Croatia needs to get at least a point out of this. However, the problem with it, one of the reasons why I'm going to like kind of dial it back a little bit on Croatia here is these teams could play to a draw and they'd both advance. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to get Croatia with 4 points, Ghana with 5, if that happens, they're both going to advance because Ghana's going to wind up in second place in the group. Croatia, if they get 4 points, I think they're going to advance from the third place spot. So these teams could possibly play this a little bit closer to the vest here. So that worries me a little bit, but I like Croatia, and I almost put it on my card there. However, I will tell you that I looked at some of the market numbers, and the market is not agreeing with it. The market likes Ghana in that game, so I don't know about that. But based on the previous matchup, based on the previous games those teams played there, and by the way, England did outplay Ghana in that 0-0 draw. England was clearly the better team statistically in that one. So based off of all that, plus the fact that Croatia is a point behind and they need this more, I'm leaning Croatia there. But again, there is the concern that if you'd play Croatia on the money line, on the three-way line, and then a draw would lose your bet, and there is a decent chance of a draw in that match, in my opinion. Panama and England, I mean, this game's in East Rutherford, New Jersey. England is minus 600. England should win this one. Panama is not good. I believe Panama has not even scored a goal yet. Although, they might score here because the other teams that hadn't scored a goal until their last match were Haiti, Turkey, and I forget, there was one other one. And all three of them scored a goal in their last match. So Panama might finally do it. I think Panama will actually be motivated just for that reason because they haven't scored a goal yet in the World Cup. So I think they're going to show up just to try to score a goal here. And plus, they're eliminated, I'm pretty sure. So it's their last stand here, basically like their last game in the World Cup. They get to play England. So I think Panama will show up, although Panama, I think they're coming from Toronto, right, against Croatia. So Panama, a little bit lesser of a travel, a little bit worse of a travel spot. They're going to East Rutherford, New Jersey here for this one, where the New York football teams play. England is coming in from Foxborough, so it's a little bit easier for them. England, yeah, they should win. The total's high. I mean, I don't think I'd want to go with England over their team total, though, because I don't know if they really need goal differential here. Let me see. England, well, I don't know. Maybe they do. I mean, they're only +2 here. There is a chance they wind up tied with Ghana. I mean, they want to make sure they advance. England, I mean, they're going to advance. Even if they lose this game, which isn't going to happen, they'd still advance with 4 points, though. So I don't know about England, with their goal differential here. I probably would not really prefer England over their team total, though. I was right about Belgium over their team total yesterday. And my other play that I liked yesterday was the draw no bet on Saudi Arabia. So that would have been a push because the draw happened. So that would have been a no bet, as the name of that bet suggests. Yeah, I mean, England has some motivation here, but not a ton. Like they really just need to win this game. And England, they're good on defense, but I don't know. Their offense, to me, they seem a little bit questionable, dude. And just their track record in the World Cup is not really that good, so I don't know. They should win, obviously, against an inferior opponent, but I'm not going to do anything with that game. I mean, yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot else there. Colombia and Portugal in a different group here, which is in Miami. I think one of these teams, Colombia, I think is coming up from Mexico, I want to say, for this. And Portugal, I think, played in either Miami or Atlanta in their last game. So I think the travel spot is a little better for Portugal. Portugal is actually behind Colombia here in Group K. Portugal was supposed to win this group, but Colombia is not bad, and Colombia has won both of their matches so far, which, yeah, I believe they beat. They beat these two lesser teams, though. I mean, it's not that surprising, right? They beat Congo, Dominican Republic of Congo, or Dominican Republic of Congo. Yes, that's my Florida, Illinois. No, Democratic Republic of Congo and Uzbekistan, whereas Portugal had that weird draw against Democratic Republic of Congo. People might knock Portugal a little bit for that, but Portugal is still the better team here. If you're looking at the standings, both teams are going to advance anyway. I mean, they're going to be the top two teams in this group. Although Portugal, I mean, even if they wind up in a tie, because Congo DR could win today and Portugal could potentially lose to Colombia here. And if that happens, Portugal is still likely to have the tiebreaker over Congo because they had a draw. So then the tiebreaker would then go to goal differential. And Portugal will still have the goal differential over Congo. So basically, these teams have already secured the top two spots here, so that's kind of the issue that I have with Portugal. They're minus 105 on the three-way line, but these teams might still kind of be okay with the draw here, you know what I mean? Because if these teams both draw, they're both going to advance if they both draw, so they don't really need a whole lot out of this game. So we'll see what happens here, but Portugal, I know, was kind of like making fun of Norway. Norway rested their players yesterday, by the way. I forgot to realize that was a possibility. Norway basically decided, let's rest our players for health reasons. I don't know if it was a good idea, though, because Norway, because of that, they wound up getting Ivory Coast, where they could have gotten Sweden instead. If I were them, I think I'd rather play Sweden, even though Sweden's kind of a rival of theirs. I think Ivory Coast is better than Sweden, so I don't love that, but I understand, like, I think the people that are bashing Norway for doing that, they just don't get it, man. Like, it makes sense for Norway to just keep their guys rested, you know what I mean? They're trying to win the World Cup here, man, you know what I mean, or make a run here. Anyway, I don't know if Portugal's going to do that or not, but Ronaldo's kind of had some issues here anyway for Portugal, so I don't know, man. I don't really like how Portugal's looked so far in this tournament, so I don't know. Colombia probably will actually have some motivation there in that game just because they're playing against Portugal. So I think they might just kind of show up for that reason, although they have a little bit less motivation just because they've already, they're close to winning the group here, but maybe they want to prevent Portugal from winning the group. Who knows? I don't know how that game is going to play out. Dominican Republic, or I keep saying Dominican Republic. DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, is playing Uzbekistan, who is one of the worst teams in this entire thing. They're not good, which is why Congo is minus 150 here on the three-way line. In Atlanta, I forget where these teams are coming from. I don't remember. Uzbekistan, I think, was in either Atlanta. They're staying there, or coming from Miami. I forget. Congo, I think, just played in Mexico, though. So I think they're coming up from that. So the travel spot's a little bit worse for Congo here. Uzbekistan is already eliminated from the World Cup. So they might show up with some effort just, because they know it's their last go around here in the World Cup. Or, I talk about it, they could be in a dream crusher spot. You never really know. But they weren't really expected to do anything in the World Cup. So Congo wasn't expected to advance either. And they need points. Congo needs points to advance here. They're going to need to win. A draw is not going to be enough. So Congo does need to win here. They could do it. I mean, this is going to be their weakest opponent they've faced in the World Cup so far. But they're also not a good team. And I feel like the public is going to be kind of on them because Congo is one of those kind of hype teams because they had that draw against Portugal, was it? I think it was against Portugal, yeah. So Congo's got kind of that, they're almost like they're almost like a Cape Verde where everybody's like hyping this team up because they weren't expected to do that, So I worry about it. I mean, Congo probably does win here at -150, but I would not really want to bank on it. Algeria and Austria, this is really interesting, where Austria is +210, and Algeria on the three-way line is probably also right around +210, or maybe +300 something. The weird thing about this one is the draw is like +230 here. So the odds makers are kind of telling you they think this is going to wind up in a draw, and I think it might happen. I think you might want to take a shot at the draw here. And the odds makers, look at the total in this game, 1.5. So the odds makers are telling you they think this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I think it might be. I think these teams might just kind of go through the motions here, and I'm going to explain why that is in a second. Austria just lost to Argentina, They're playing Algeria here. Too many A nations here. But both Austria and Algeria both already got a win against Jordan in this group, so they both already have 3 points here. So you'll see what I'm getting at in a minute. Now, these teams, one of them is coming in from California, and one of them is coming from Texas, and I forget which is which. The team coming from Texas does have a little bit of a travel edge. That would be Austria. Algeria is coming from Northern California here. Austria is coming from Texas. Now, the reason why I think this is going to potentially be a draw is look at how this sets up. Argentina has already won this group. Argentina already won against Austria and Algeria. So Argentina already has the tiebreaker against Austria and Algeria here. Plus, they already have the goal differential, too. So Argentina has already won Group J. Austria and Algeria, they're sitting at 3 points here. They're probably going to both advance if they draw here because they'll both have 4 points. One of them will be the number 2 team in the group, so they'll advance. The other one that winds up in the number 3 spot will have 4 points and will probably advance as well. So I think a draw is pretty likely here, man. So I think you could take the shot and play the draw at like +230 here. That might be the way that you want to do it here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if there's maybe a better way to look at that. But, yeah, I mean, I think maybe taking the shot on the draw makes sense because both teams, you know what I mean? Like, it might be like a gentlemanly agreement here where both teams, like, have an incentive to play to a draw here. So, I don't think they care that much whether they're number 2 or number 3. So, and then Argentina is a huge favorite against Jordan. Argentina is, I believe, coming in from... No, they're staying in Texas, I think. And Jordan's coming in from California. Argentina's -650. But I just told you, Argentina doesn't need to win here. So, I mean, they're just way better than Jordan. Jordan's eliminated, but maybe Jordan will get up for this game just because they want to try to do something here against a good team like Argentina. It's their last World Cup game here. Maybe Jordan wants to try to show something here. They're nowhere near as good, but Argentina hasn't been that impressive so far. They've been impressive on defense, but, they haven't scored much. So I think maybe what you could do here is look at the spread on Jordan here. Like, you could take +2.5 goals with Jordan. You have to lay about -150 for that, though. But you can play Jordan to come within 2 goals here. Again, Argentina doesn't need this game, so they don't need to win by margin or anything like that. So maybe Jordan +2.5 goals at -150 is maybe the way to play this one here. Don't have a whole lot else to say about that, though. Yeah, I think that's going to do it, man. Argentina did just come off an escape, though. They were about to have not really an escape, but they were about to win 1-0 over Austria. And I thought Austria was going to come within that 1.5 spread against Argentina. Argentina's second goal came in stoppage time there, and I think it was Messi yet again. Go check out the Messi shirt-ticking statue, by the way, which is ridiculous. The new statue of him. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like, I don't mind Messi, but that statue is ridiculous. Anyway, that's going to do it. We're going to, the 2 plays today, we're on first five innings Cincinnati Reds and Arizona Diamondbacks +1.5 on the run line for part of the bet, and the other part of the bet on the +135 money line. Or if you just want to play Arizona money line, you could do it, but I'm going to play it this way, and I'm going to track it as a push if they lose by 1. It's that play and the Reds money line in the first 5. Those are my only plays today. We have to get back on track. We have to go 2-0 here to have a winning day. I'm trying. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to this channel here. Yesterday was awful. I don't know what to tell you. We got to bounce back here. I'm really pissed about WNBA. Thought we were going to at least get that win with that one. It looked like every game looked like it was going to be a win for the majority of the time. I just fucking hate that. It was a very misleading 0-3. I don't even want to talk about it. Listen to the show on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, whatever. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. I did put up a new cover yesterday, but my voice is so bad right now. I don't know what to do. Patreon.com/LearnToToad, and you can support me that way and get requests and whatever once my voice is better. I don't know what to tell you. Loser Cast on Tuesday nights. Giants G-Spot podcast will come back at some point. And I was on Nephilim Death Squad, Neph to America yesterday. It was a fun episode again, so go check that out if you missed it. That's going to do it. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me